Thierry Henry spent 8 seasons at Arsenal, scoring goals with a lethal grace.
Henry bends it. Oh, what a goal! Absolute screamer.
He broke records, he won trophies, he was the spearhead of the legendary Invincibles, the first English team in a century to go an entire league season undefeated.
Henry, sidestepping one, sidestepping two, that is brilliant!
Thierry Henry is a legend of the Barclays Premier League. Signed from Juventus, he started slowly.
I think when Thierry first came to the club, I don't think that the fans were too excited, to be honest, because he'd had a fairly bad time in Italy. I think he only scored 3 goals in 16 games for Juventus.
He was not hopeless in Italy, but he was sometimes deployed almost as a defensive midfielder by Carlo Ancelotti at Juve. Couldn't score. He was thought of as a winger. He was out of the French team. He had to go back to the under-23s. So his career was, even though it won so much, it proved so much, his career was really going down.
When he came to Arsenal, I think his confidence, he said himself, was pretty low.
The first 8 or 9 games, he didn't score a goal. And the lads were getting a little bit worried, thinking, well, we need a top striker here, and Thierry's not really finding his form at the moment.
A lot of European footballers, when they arrived in Britain, struggled for the first 3 or 4, 5 weeks of it. They tend to struggle a little bit, then bang, I don't know what it was, it just seemed to just, the torch got lit by them. And Thierry Henry was an example.
I always remember the first goal he scored was amazing. Southampton away at the Dell, someone rolled the ball into him, turned automatically an absolute top corner.
Henry holding off Almeida. Oh, what a goal! Thierry Henry scores his first for Arsenal. A large slice of the £10 million transfer fee repaid.
And after that, the gates just opened for him. Every single week he would score goal after goal after goal, 2 at a time, 3 at a time. And he was an absolutely different class striker, he really was.
Here's Adams, bit of space for Thierry Henry!
He scored 174 Premier League goals, many of them memorable.
Good skill here from Henry! Oh, outstanding! Outstanding!
He was the fox in the box as well as the rapier. He was a player that could score scruffy goals and could score serene goals.
I remember a Champions League game in the Stadio Olimpico against Roma, where he scored the complete hat-trick, the fabled left foot, right foot head. Remarkable performance. He comes out after the perfect hat-trick, and of course you can imagine, the smiles and the sheer adrenaline that's pumping after that. And I said to him, as you do, understated start, happy with that then? He said, the left foot could have been just a little bit higher.
In terms of important goals, I remember one year when they won the league, they beat Manchester United. And Fabian Barthez was in goal at Highbury.
They're in possession with Henry. Oh, whoa, what a goal!
And I think that was when he was really clicking into gear, and people around the world was going, well, this Thierry Henry is unbelievable,
I think the thing when you look at Henry's stats, when the big games came around, most of the time he delivered.
And of course there was a more contentious but extremely cheeky one that he scored against Chelsea, where he took the quick free kick.
There's a few here who'd like to take the free kick, but I guess there's only one man who will get the vote, and there he is. And he's taken it early! Oh, outrageous! Outrageous! Brilliant goal by Henry! The referee gave him the signal to take it early. Only one man was switched on, and that's Thierry Henry.
What a Chelsea players are incensed, they're furious.
To this day, Thierry will tell you that Graham Poll actually said to him, do you want to have a go? Will I hold my hand up, or will I, for the whistle or not? And Thierry goes, bang, and he sits at him. And it ends up being 2-2. Carlo Cudicini's levity runs 40 yards to remonstrate. Chelsea players are having a right go. I think even Franco had a go at Thierry, actually. Franco almost lost his halo.
I remember one game where we came up against him, and he had his back to goal, probably about, 8 yards out, and the there looked to be nothing on. John Fortune was a centre-half and he was really tight up against Thierry Henry. It looked like he was probably going to lay the ball off to one of the players coming to have a shot at goal. None of it. That wasn't on his radar. I didn't even think about it. Backheeled it past Dean Kiley and into the net.
Towards Henry. Fortune at his back. Oh! It's another one to put in the portfolio of astonishing Thierry Henry goals.
Great player, worked, you know, off the cuff really, and that's what that goal was. It wasn't planned. It's just instinct.
It was just one of those, for me, just wonderful goals. One of the best in the Premier League.
This is absolute sheer brilliance.
I think with Thierry Henry as well, he wasn't necessarily just a goal scorer. I think he was a good provider as well. By the movement, by getting out wide, created room for others, and he could pick a pass. And I think he prided himself on providing goals as well as scoring them.
I really thought no one ever beat Ian Wright's record, goal scoring record. But Thierry went past it and probably beat it by 50 goals in the end. So, an amazing player.
If you want to encapsulate Thierry with one word, that would be speed. As a Nicolas Anelka, for example, was a player who was far more skillful at the same age, we're talking 19, 20 years of age, and who could play closer to the defender and then beat him by dribbling and so forth. And Thierry was not a dribbler at all to start with. He was a ball pusher, somebody who would kick the ball, then run into the space.
He was probably one of the quickest players as well, actually carrying the ball. Obviously, he was lightning quick without it, when latching onto through balls from Dennis Bergkamp or Robert Pires or Mark Overmars. But he was one of the quickest players I've seen actually dribbling with the ball and taking people on. And when you see it at that pace, that's when you realise the difference between very good players and great players.
Not just the extraordinary speed he had with the ball at his feet, but also the speed of thought, the capacity. I remember Wenger saying, truly great player, has to choose between 1,000 decisions, possible choices, in a split second, and he would choose the right one.
Henry's career was unquestionably shaped by the man who turned a winger into a striker.
Henry! He's just battered it into the back of the Charlton net.
When Thierry placed Nicolas Anelka, it was again a fantastic piece of business from Arsene Wenger, because I think he bought Nicolas Anelka for 500,000, sold him for 22.5 million. That enabled him to build a fantastic training facility at London Coney for about £15 million, and got a better player in the bargain. I think Thierry Henry was £11 million when he bought him from Juventus.
Without Wenger, Thierry wouldn't be the player he is. No doubt about that.
The biggest transformation I've seen in a meek young player coming to England was that of Thierry Henry. Coming as a winger, coming as a player who'd had his big money move from Monaco to Italy, and it hadn't really worked out for him, but was still very tender of years, and someone that was still malleable enough for Arsene Wenger to transmit his ideas to.
We used to say, particularly to Stephen Carr, stay in that right-back hole, because he was so magnificent at spinning out from the centre down that inside left channel and then turning and then hitting shots in with his right foot from the left-hand side. You had to hold that channel. If you left space, he would be out on a flash. If you played a high line, he would race behind you.
And here goes Henry, bursting through the centre. On fire, Thierry Henry.
It's a North London derby, isn't it? It's the biggest rivalry, the Arsenal Spurs, I think it was at Highbury at the time.
I think there were some goals whereby words are almost superfluous. You find this as a commentator. Sometimes something happens on the pitch. There's no point trying to describe it. You just have to watch it and savour it.
Now there could be a break on here. Thierry Henry didn't have much trouble bringing that under control.
Picked the ball up in his own half, and he seemed to glide past 2 or 3 Tottenham players, and he was all going, where's he going with it? You know, is he going to pass the ball?
He's slaloming defenders and midfielders, and he's gone all the way into the box, and he slotted it in, and it was an absolutely fantastic goal. Made me smile a lot, I can tell you.
Oh, he's going it alone at the moment, and why not? There was just no stopping him.
Yeah, he made this run through, I thought, one or two weak challenges, but the pace he picked up as he went through, I think he ran almost from the halfway line to go past several players and to place that ball in the net. Big disappointment for us, but on reflection, you can look back years later and say, wonderful goal. At the time, you said, damn it.
Silva to Parler, Ray Parler in the position for the shot. Off the post, it must be in now. Thierry Henry gets the Arsenal goal.
You had to say he was missing out on something, he was with his head. He didn't score enough goals with his head. Yeah, 4 out of 200 and something. So, you know, that would have been his probably weak spot. But we didn't mind that. As long as he could do it with his feet and scoring goals, we didn't mind that.
Ljungberg. Henry! Picked up a goal.
Bergkamp, he's chipped it in. 2-1.
There's Henry! Arsenal have won it! And yes, Thierry Henry has just scored with his head. Thierry Henry for 2-0.
His 5th season was his greatest, and arguably Arsenal's greatest of all.
And Thierry Henry for the hat-trick, yes!
I think going through a league season unbeaten is probably a better achievement than winning the double.
With the end of the season in sight and still unbeaten, Arsenal stumbled at home to Liverpool.
Easter Monday, Highbury, 2 goals down in the first 20 minutes. And I remember thinking at the time, sitting there, first of all amazed, because this was a team who were getting that close to go the whole season without defeat.
Arsenal had just been kicked out in the quarterfinals of the Champions League after playing probably the best football I've ever seen them play against Chelsea, certainly for 45 minutes. So the team was down. And yes, they were still unbeaten, and yes, the title was still in their grasp, but they had to do something, and Liverpool were very close to win that game. But no, he decided, I'm going to win that game, and if I have to win it on my own, I'll do it.
The game warming up. Henry, yes! Oh, you can feel the relief around Highbury.
They were a top team. No one could beat them. Simple as that.
Probably is a feat that will never be repeated. And therefore, that puts you, I think, as probably the greatest side that the Premier League has ever produced, because for that fact alone.
Henry's contribution that season, 30 goals in 37 games.
Heads it on to Thierry Henry! 10-man Arsenal do it again!
He deserves the title, Mr. Arsenal, because what a legend he is, He's got, Arsenal blood going through his veins.
One of the best players ever to grace the Premier League, Thierry Henry. Brilliant on the eye, fantastic goals.
And here he is! Unbelievable! 1 minute and 15 seconds gone, and English football's greatest goal scorer has given Arsenal a sensational lead.
Sheer pace, strength, and part of a great Arsenal team.
What a player.